Hello there. In this video, we're going to be solving this exponential equation. So the question says solve the equation in the real number system 2 raised power x plus 8 raised power x is equal to 130. Now, I'm going to start off by transposing 130 to the left-hand side. It's going to be 2 raised power x plus 8 raised power x minus 130 is equal to 0. Now, the next thing I want to do is to express it as a power of 2 so that we'll have a common base here. So this is going to be 2 raised power x plus, what about 8? 2 raised power 3 is 8 because 2 times 2 times 2 will give you 8. So 2 raised power 3 and then with the exponent of x here multiplying 3. So minus 130 is equal to 0. Now, do you know that I can express 2 raised power 3x as we have here as 2 raised power x then times 3 because it is commutative. You can do 2 times 5 or 5 times 2. They are the same thing. It will give you 10. So in the same way, 3 times x can be expressed as x times 3. It's just so that I will have an identical term as 2 raised power x, both on the first term and on the second term. So this is going to be 2 raised power x plus 2 raised power x and then times 3 as we have here, minus 130 is equal to 0. Now, you have 2 raised power x here, we have 2 raised power x here. We can say let y or any letter, but don't let it be x, be equal to 2 raised power x. It's just a way of simplifying the equation so that we'll not have to deal with complex terms. So if I say let y be equal to 2 raised power x, I'll come here and then substitute 2 raised power x for y. Now this is going to be y plus this, 2 raised power x is, we say let it be y. It's going to be y raised by what? 3. See what I did there? Minus 130 is equal to 0. Let me rearrange this. I'm going to write this as y raised by 3 plus y minus 130 is equal to 0. What is this? This is a cubic polynomial because the leading power here is 3. Now, the question is, how do we get the root from this cubic equation? How do we get the root? We can use something called the rational root theory to get the root. Now, the rational root theory says that the root of this cubic equation must be a factor of the constant term minus 130. So what are the factors of minus 130? Plus or minus 1 is a factor of minus 130. Plus or minus 2 is also a factor. Now, we cannot use plus or minus 3 because 3 cannot divide 130. We can't even use 4, but we can use 5. Plus or minus 5. So one of the roots have to be either this, or this. Okay? Now the question is, how do we even test if it's going to be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, or plus or minus 5, or any other number as it were? Okay, now there's something called the remainders theorem. Maybe you have, let's say you want to divide this by y minus 4, for instance. If you want to know the remainder, if this divides this, you are going to set y minus 4 to be equal to 0, and then y will be equal to 4. You will substitute 4 for y into this. Whatever constant value you have is going to be the remainder. If what you have is 0, it means that this right here, y minus 4, this one here, is a factor. But if it gives you a constant value other than 0, then you know it is not a factor. That will become the remainder. So we're going to keep testing plus or minus 1 into this. If it does not give us 0, it is not a factor. Plus or minus 2 into this. If it does give us 0, it's not a factor until we get 0 before we can conclude that that particular number is a factor. So let's do some tests here. I'm going to start with plus 1. Plug it into this cubic equation and let's see what that gives us. So let me erase this and let's do some tests here. So let's plug in plus 1 into this equation. That will be 1 cubed plus 1 minus 130. 1 cubed is 1. 1 plus 1 is what? 2. 2 minus 130 clearly is not going to give us 0. So 1 is not a factor. We'll strike that out. Even minus 1 is not a factor. In order not to waste time, let's test for plus 5. I've done this before and plus 5 is a factor, but let's just test for it. So if I plug in 5 into this cubic equation, let's see what that will give us. So this will be what? 5 cubed plus 5 I'm plugging in 5 into y, then minus 130. What is 5 cubed? That's what? 125, then plus 5 minus 130. 125 plus 5 is 130. 130 minus 130 is what? 0. So which means plus 5 is one of the roots of this equation. So y is equal to 5 is one of the roots. If 5 is one of the roots, what does that mean? That y, move 5 to meet y, you have minus 5. Y minus 5 is a what? Is a factor. Yes, it's a factor of this. So we want to divide this cubic equation by y minus 5, and let's see what that will give us to get the other roots or the other factors. Of course, we can get the root from the factors. So I'm going to divide y cubed plus y minus 130 by what? By this factor, y minus 5, to get the other factor. So let's divide this now. I'm going to use DMS. That's divide, multiply, subtract. That's going to be the flow. So we divide first. Y divides y cubed, you get what? Y squared. And then you multiply. So y squared times y is what? Y cubed. Y squared times minus 5 is minus 5y squared. But we don't have a provision for that here. And I'm going to remove this and put plus 0y squared here. Now plus 0y squared is also 0. So I just decided to create a space here so that we'll not be confused with the different powers that will be under. So I'm just going to write what now? So we have what? Plus y here, then minus 130. So let's go again. Y squared times minus 5 is what? Minus 5y squared. So we have multiplied. Let's now what? Subtract x. So when I subtract, y cubed minus y cubed is what? 0. And then y squared, or 0 y squared minus 5y squared is what? Plus 5y squared. Okay. Now we need to bring down this y. That's plus y. And then we divide again. Y into 5y squared is what? Plus 5y. Then we multiply. 5y times y is what? 5y squared. Write it under here. 5y times negative 5 is what? Negative 25y. Then we what? Subtract. Let's subtract this. 5y squared minus 5y squared is 0. Y minus 25y is what? Plus 26y. Okay. And let's bring down minus 130 and let's what? Divide again. 5 into y into 26y is what? Plus 26. And then let's multiply. 26 times y is what? Plus 26y. 26 times minus 5 is minus 130. When you subtract, you get 0 here and you get 0 here. So this is the other factor. Y squared plus 5y plus 26 is the other factor of this cubic equation. Now, you know we are trying to get the other root. So we are going to test the nature of root that this will give us. If it is an imaginary root, we are not going to need it. We are not going to use it. So let's test the nature of root. I'm going to clean off this. So how do you test the nature of root? From this, b squared minus 4ac. If this gives us a positive value, then it is a real root. If it is greater than 0, rather, it is a real root. If it is less than 0, it is imaginary. And if it is equal to 0, it is what? Equal root. So let's test the nature of root here. The coefficient, now if you test this with ay squared plus by plus c, what is, look at this, b squared, what's b here? 5 squared. So that's 5 squared minus 4 times a is what? The coefficient of y squared, which is 1, times what? C is 26. So what is 5 squared? 25 minus 4 times 26 is what? 26 times 4. This is 24, right? 4, carry 2, 8. That's 104. And clearly, this will give us a number that is less than 0 because we'll get a negative value here. So it means that the root that this will produce will be imaginary root. And we're going to put it aside and then focus on the real root, which is y is equal to 5. But we said, recall, quickly, I'm going to take this off. Let me just take this off. Recall that what? Recall that we said that what y be equal to 2 raised to power x. Remember that? Now, since y is 5, plug it in here. 5 is equal to 2 raised to power x. And from there, I am going to get the value of x. So what do we do to get the value of x here? I need to drop this exponent. So I would apply logarithm to both sides. That's going to be log 5 is equal to log what? 2 raised to power x. Now, from one of the laws of logarithm, this x would come to the front of logarithm. So you have log 5 is equal to x log 2. Now we're going to divide both sides by log 2 so that we can get a value of x here. Log 2 cancels log 2. So therefore, x is equal to what? Log 5 over log 2. And this is your final answer. If this video was helpful, kindly subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share to your family and friends. I'll see you in the next one.